Now we're going to do some questions from the audience. First question, what do you think? Oh, would you like to read the question, or we have an answer? Okay. All right. What do you think SGA can do to have the greatest impact at IIT? We know the school has made really unpopular decisions. The cafeteria issue, cutting basketball, tuition hikes, Greek move-in, etc. What can SGA do to have a voting member on the school board?
A voting member on the school board? I have time to think.
That's a very important question that you brought up, and I took this up as one of the key points in my other question that I addressed before. I want to push the university to have a voting member on the board of directors. That's essentially a lot of trustees on there. Because right now we just have a representative that communicates back and forth to the government and the board of directors of what happens at each meetings. A student does not have a voice in it as far as voting goes. We just have a voice as far as here. This is what I think about it, but whether or not they want to accept it, it's up to them. So I want to push the university to have a representative from student government to be able to vote at the board of directors meeting at all those issues which are concerning student life.
Okay, so I'd just like to give an example. My roommate, Agata, is on the selection committee for the Dean of Engineering, and she's the only student, and I think all of the faculty and staff are really happy to have her on there just because it does affect us. It is our school. Okay, and Gray, I'm sorry. So it is our school, and it is important that our voice is heard. So hopefully we can push for that member to be.
Is there anything SGA in particular can do, to push for that? Like anything they can do?
I mean, I know currently a lot of the exec board members have really good relationships with the faculty at our school. So I think, they do listen to us. So I think if we just better that communication with them, I think we can really push for someone to be on the board.
And now our second question will come from Maya.
So being a VP doesn't necessarily mean that you get to accomplish all of your plans, do everything that you want to do, and you have a team, you have a committee. And so those of us who have been on student government should know being on a committee is a mandatory requirement for being a senator, and you'll have people who are very excited and interested in doing things on campus, some people who are just there to put it on their resume. So how do you plan to keep your committee members excited and involved, and how do you want to promote further involvement, not just from senators, but from other students as well?
Okay, so this past semester, on Student Life, we thought that it would be a good idea to set a table up on the bridge once a week and try to promote SGA's name throughout our school. And also, we put out slips of paper, and we would ask students, do you have any problems around school? Do you have a problem with night owl, library, Keating, etc.? And so we did have a lot of students come up and give us their problems or any advice that, they gave us advice. And we just started putting all those together, and hopefully we can implement and work on those as soon as possible. Yeah, and I think just having the table out there every week, I think more people started knowing what SGA stands for and what we do.
I think there are two ways in which a committee can be run effectively. One is the internal and another is the external. The internal way of doing it is all the committee members should feel invested in what they're doing. And that only happens if you don't operate a committee and if you facilitate it. If you facilitate a committee and the members by getting their inputs and seeing how situations can be dealt with, people feel more invested in getting results out of them because they are the expert on the issue. The external way of dealing with this is getting SGA out as an institution that is more vital on this campus, an institution which can make changes on this campus. And when you have that impression about SGA, everyone wants to get involved with SGA in one form or the other. Maybe it's a committee or maybe it's a senate. And being part of a committee, they would take this up as something, as the first step moving towards the senate. And if you promote SGA as a vital organization, people in the committee will be more driven to work to, because if they want to stay in there, they need to get results. And I think that's a good way of giving incentives to run a committee better.
That'll be all the questions that we had for these candidates. And now, I guess we'll be reading a bit from...
thank you both for coming. We didn't have time.
Oh, is it okay?
Thanks. We'd like to read some selections from some of the candidates who could not be here today. Which first we have, and I encourage you to all read their questionnaires, studgov.com, studgov, studgov, I don't know. It's like student government, but shortened for today's modern world. The first one, Mike Kruger, who's the only candidate for executive vice president, so I'm going to read it in silly voice, because, you know, no, I'm kidding. But he says that, I believe through my work in leadership experience and time management skills, all qualify me for this position. My past experience and my involvement in current SGA activities is proof of my willingness to dedicate time and effort to SGA, and most importantly, the students of IIT. He's running unopposed, so I advise you to vote for him. Or not, I don't leave it blank, but wouldn't you feel a little bit empty? Our other two candidates are running for VP of Communications against Octavio, who was here earlier, if you were here at the early hour of 5 p.m. We have Peter Cretiu, is that how it's said? Cretiu, C-R-E-T-I-U. You can look at how it's spelled when you go to studgov.com, which I expect you will. We're checking, and I will track you down if you don't go. I'm kidding.